it is finally time for the Q&A that I've been saying that I wanted to do. I'm excited about it. I haven't done one of these in forever. The last time that I did one, I'm pretty sure it was me and Travis and we were both pretty awkward. So it's a long time coming. I've got my questions here. We've got 15 or so roundabout questions, so I'm excited about that. If you're new here, I'm Courtney. I am a stay-at-home mom to 2 boys. They're 5 and 3, and then I'll be 33 weeks pregnant tomorrow with our 3rd boy. So that's just a little bit about me before we get started with the Q&A. And I was going to do this outside. I actually went outside with the boys and I was going to let them play and film this. I'm already out of breath. I was going to let them play while I filmed this, but it was so windy and there was no shade in the backyard whatsoever. It's 77 degrees outside, so it's super hot, and I'm in jeans and a little bit too pregnant for that. And there's bees flying around. So Travis got home in perfect timing, and he is outside playing basketball with them right now. So I'm sitting inside, turned on the air conditioning, and we're gonna film this. Hope there's not too much of a glare. I'm not sitting in front of a window, I'm sitting next to a window because there's really not a good place inside the house to film a video like this, like a sit down video, other than like in the living room. So, and it's more comfortable on the couch. I'll just get started. So the first question, most of these were like unique. There was a couple that were duplicate questions, but for the most part, there weren't duplicates other than just a few. So they're all random, written down here. I just did them in the order that I got them. So the first question was, how did me and Travis meet? And we actually met at Dairy Queen, which was both of our first jobs. I started there as soon as the one in our town opened when I was 16, and he started in the town over, and he had came to this one, and I had just come back a week after having my wisdom teeth out, and he had I don't know why he was at the store. I think he was going to be a shift leader or something like that, which if I would have known that ahead of time, I probably wouldn't have had the guts to talk to him. But he ended up working in the chill area, the ice cream area with me that day, and we just kind of got to talking. I still looked a little bit chipmunky with my wisdom teeth extraction, and I ended up messaging him, finding him on Facebook and messaging him on there, and was like, my Facebook's messing up, you should text me. So I guess I kind of initiated that, which is very much unlike me. I never did that, but I really liked him. And he was very nice when I worked with him. Like I said though, if I would have known he would have been a shift leader later on, would not have had the guts to talk to him because I've always been shy, and that was like, I wouldn't have crossed those boundaries, but it all worked out, right? The second question is, what was my job before having kids? And well, my first job was at Dairy Queen, like I said, and I loved working there, to be honest. Later on down the road though, the shift lead thing, him being a manager with me working, and I wasn't a manager, did cause some issues with like another manager, and that's a long story, but I ended up not working there. I did work there for a few years though, and then I later went back to work there again. And then I've only had a few jobs, but what I was doing right before having kids, like when I was pregnant with Grant, I was still working, and I worked at Walmart in the bakery. At Walmart, I've worked in 3 different areas, I guess. I started out in the craft department, and then I did some grocery stocking, and that was all of these were pretty easy. And I enjoyed working there too. I've never had really issues anywhere I've worked in that regard. But the bakery was fun too, except having to get up early. I did donuts a couple times. Well, more than a couple times. I did that a lot. And you'd have to be there at like 5 in the morning, something like that. And Travis would used to get up with me at like 3:30. I think I had to be there earlier than 5, because why in the world would I be getting up at 3:30 to get ready? I think I had to be there sometimes at 4:30. If I remember correctly. And that was just not me. I'm not a morning person. I'm still not a morning person, even with the kids getting up for school. Travis has been the primary person taking them in the mornings, so that didn't work out very well for me. But I enjoyed doing the bakery overall. But what made me end up not working there long term while I was pregnant with Grant, with him, I was nauseous and sick the entire pregnancy, beginning to end, and I stuck it out until well into the 2nd trimester. But I was just so nauseous, and when I would come in and do the bread, I also did the bread a lot, and like had to spray the pans and everything. It made me so nauseous. It was awful, and it had gotten to the point where I was getting sick at work too, and it was just a miserable experience. So I eventually, in the middle of that pregnancy, when it became apparent that I wasn't going to be losing the nauseousness like most people do, I decided to go ahead and quit, and I've been a stay-at-home mom ever since. Yes, I've thought about going back to work from time to time, but honestly it just doesn't seem realistic when we've got 2 kids and I would have to pay for childcare and that sort of thing anyway. It would just be working to pay for that, so it works out better to stay home. Now, well, now I'm pregnant again, and Porter does go to school 3 times a week and Grant goes 5 times a week, but I'm in the same scenario once again, and this is the first year they've been in school. So who knows, I might eventually, after this baby gets a little older and goes part-time or something, might get a job again. We'll see. I don't know. Next question is this our last kid? And yes, absolutely yes, it is. We weren't sure if we were even going to have a third, and we obviously are now. When I was growing up, I always wanted 3 or 4 kids, but this pregnancy especially has made me realize that this is all that I want. It feels right. This has been a really tough pregnancy for me, mentally and physically, emotionally, all of it, and it's definitely our last kid. And Travis agrees too. He probably would have stopped at 2 if we're being honest, but we're having 3. We're both very excited about it, but a little bit nervous at the same time to have 3, especially just with how I've been feeling this pregnancy. I'm hoping obviously that it all goes away as soon as baby's born. Next question, dream vacation with and without the kids. With the kids, that's kind of hard. We have been to the beach. We've been to Tybee Island. That was super fun. We love it and probably want to go back again. We've also been to Myrtle Beach, but somewhere, me and Travis have been to Miami, Florida, but that's all we've been to in Miami. We went there to get on a cruise. We weren't necessarily fans of Miami though, but we would like to actually take a vacation to Florida, possibly Disney. I don't know. Is it overrated? I know some people love it, but I've never personally been. Travis has never personally been. That's something that I think the kids would obviously enjoy, maybe when this baby is at least a couple years old, and then we can venture that way, because it is a long trip drive, because we'd be driving most likely, and I want to go to the beach and everything in Florida, not Miami though. With the kids also, I think it would be cool to do a cruise too, just because they're super fun and you get to experience different things, and the cruise itself is really fun. Me and Travis I've been on 2 cruises, I believe. We did one for our like honeymoon, and well, a little later for our honeymoon we actually went to Gatlinburg just for the first couple nights, and then we lived in North Carolina at the time, and then because we couldn't get a cruise sooner, so a month later we took the cruise. We went to Miami to get on the cruise, and we went to Cozumel, Mexico, and Key West, Florida, I believe, on that cruise. So cruises are super fun. I love to cruise, and think it's a pretty good deal for that. Disney cruise would be really cool too with the kids. But as far as like a dream vacation without the kids, I mean, I don't know. We're pretty simple. We would like to go back to Gatlinburg, because that's where we initially took our honeymoon, you know. Without the kids, just like for a little weekend trip. I couldn't imagine going anywhere longer than a weekend without them. But I don't know. Another place we really like to travel, if you can't tell. Another place I've always wanted to go is, at least within the country, is Amish country. I feel like that would be really fun. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if I'm calling it the right thing, but I feel like that would be really neat, and that's probably a good possibility in the next several years to go visit and do that. And then if I had anywhere to go outside of the country, I've always thought it'd be cool to go to Ireland. I don't know why Ireland sparks my interest. I just think it'd be really neat. When is my due date? My due date is May 19th, and I also got a question asking if I think I will go over my due date or have the baby early. And my past 2 pregnancies, I ended up having them both like about a week early. Grant was like a week to the day early, and then Porter was 4 or 5 days early, I believe. And I was induced both times, and it went well. I know some people are against being induced. I was induced due to my blood pressure being high towards the end of pregnancy. So far, like ever since that one spell of it earlier in pregnancy, I haven't had high blood pressure anymore, and I'm not on medicine for it or anything. I really do think it was just anxiety related, at least so far. But in my past pregnancies, toward the end, I would get high blood pressure. So far, so good this time around. But I was induced early, and if that happens again, I fully expect to be induced again. I mean, and like I said, it works out well. Both past pregnancies, with Grant, I went in at like 9, or we were there earlier than that, but they started toasting and everything around like 8 or 9 in the morning, and I had him by 4 or 4:30, can't remember. And then Porter, same thing. They started a little later though that morning, like 10, and I had him by like 2:30 that day. So it worked out well for me. And then the pushing part of it only lasts for 5 minutes or less. So hopefully I get lucky and that happens again this time around. Honestly, lately I feel like I've been holding this baby inside of me. So I wouldn't be shocked if I went early. I don't know. It's like I said, it's been a tough pregnancy and just all sorts of things going on, and I would not be shocked if I went early. I would be shocked if I went overdue. Somebody asked what kind of work Travis does, and I'm not gonna like say the full title of it, but he is a business consultant for a QSR, I think is what he said to call it. Basically, he goes to several different locations between here, North Carolina and South Carolina, and that's basically what he does. And then what would have been the girl's name that we had picked out if we were pregnant with a girl. And I've had this name, it's kind of changed. Like the first one around, I really liked the name Ellie, like if Grant would have been a girl. But then the last two, I was pretty stuck on Blakely Joy. I just really liked that name. So if we would have had a girl, that's definitely probably what the name would have ended up being. Blakely Joy. And then here's a question that I thought was fun. How are the boys' personalities different and how are they the same? And it's just funny. Grant is our 5-year-old and Porter's the 3-year-old. So Grant has always been headstrong since he was born. He full of energy though, loved to dance, still does. He's kind of funny that way. Loved sports even from a young age. Like a ball was his first toy that he connected with and loved. And he, like I said, he was headstrong. He's been a handful. He is sweet as can be though, like so sweet at the same time. But it was, when he was like 2 and 3, it was rough. He was very much a big personality. And now that he's gotten a little older, he's gotten more mellow, and he helps out so much. He's got such a sweetheart. But he's also the introvert out of the two. He's very shy. He's artistic, loves sports, like I said, any sport. He's very coordinated, and he loves to draw. Now Porter is our outgoing one. If you take him into Walmart, he's going to tell every single person that we say or that we pass, he's going to tell them hi. And me being an introvert, I'm like, Porter. But it also makes other people really happy, and I just love his outgoing, bubbly personality. He does not have a care in the world. He's always been that way ever since he was little. A happy-go-lucky kid, and it's awesome. He's so much fun. But he also likes to play sports a little bit, but he's also very clumsy and he gets bored of it quick. That's not his thing. He likes to sing. I love hearing him sing songs all around the house all the time. What else? I guess that's the main differences, is how outgoing Porter is and then how a little bit more reserved Grant is. And then they're the same. They both get along pretty well too. They're each other's best friend. Like Grant, I mean, Porter absolutely adores Grant, and then Grant plays just so well with him too. Like obviously they're brothers and they're around each other a lot, so they do get into little fights here and there. But overall they really do get along and play so well together. They love superheroes. Playing Power Rangers all over the house scares me to death sometimes because they think they're real life Power Rangers. But yeah. And they're both very tender-hearted and want to help out a lot too. That's another similarity. Have we decided on a baby boy name? Yes and no. The first name, pretty much for sure, probably, I'm telling you guys the baby name, is probably going to be Owen. The middle name is up for debate. If you have any suggestions for what goes with Owen Briles, like Owen blank Briles, leave me a comment in the description, in the leave me a comment in the description box. Leave me a comment down below if you have any suggestions on middle names that go with Owen Briles. O-W-E-N. Another question is, did we have a huge wedding? And I would say no. If I would have had a huge wedding, I would have freaked out. I was freaking out as it was. I don't really have any regrets of our wedding, except me and Travis are both very reserved and shy anyway. So, and like don't want to speak in front of people. So we were so shy that we didn't want to like have to say a lot of words, you know? So we didn't do much of the repeat after me stuff. It was like, with this ring I thee wed and I do. And we had a church wedding at our church that we go to, and family and church and friends were invited. But I would definitely not say that it was huge. If I can put a couple pictures on the screen of our wedding, I will, for you guys, just to have fun with that. It was, I don't know, it was unique. All I gotta say about our wedding, we were young. So some of the things that we did make me laugh a little bit. Like, me and all my bridesmaids went barefoot. I've always hated shoes. I don't regret me going barefoot. I would still go barefoot. I didn't want to trip going down the aisle in any shoes or anything like that. But it might have looked a little bit funny having the bridesmaids be barefoot. But it was in the middle of summer. We had a June wedding. It was hot. I don't like wearing shoes. It made sense to me at the time to have the bridesmaids not wear shoes either. And I don't know, that's just what we did. And then the music at the reception was kind of funny. Overall, I loved our wedding. It was fun. It's just we were young and there's some cringy things about it. I wouldn't change any of it though. We do have a little, we had somebody video it and it was awesome. One thing I do regret, the only thing I regret really, is not hiring an actual photographer. But we did plan our wedding in a short amount of time. That's a whole nother story, because my brother was in the Army and they lived in Hawaii and he had a chance to come in, and I wanted it when he was there. So we kind of rushed it a little bit, and I didn't have like a actual photographer, and we had to fight tooth and nail to get that like a DVD of our pictures back, and the editing and the pictures were just kind of a joke. But thankfully we had a backup one, and my cousin took some really good pictures and we got those. Somebody asked how many kids we want. I kind of answered that with, is this our last kid? And I've always wanted 3 or 4, so 3. We want 3. That's how many we're going to end up with. And did your kids' names have a special meaning, or did you just like the names? And we just liked the names. I've never been big on like passing down family names or anything. Neither one of us really were. So we just kind of picked them. What do you think is going to be the hardest and easy transition of having 3 kids? That's a hard question. The easiest transition, I guess, in my opinion, like with Porter, when we were having Porter, it was hard for me to see how you could like split your time and your love and everything, and how that would feel having another kid brought into it. And now after having him, I know that that's not the case. So I do think that would be like the easiest transition. And just bringing another one in anyway, with the ages that they are, I think it's going to be okay. The hardest part of the transition, I think, well, I don't know if it'll be the hardest, but it's the one I think about the most, is the lack of sleep, because neither one of them were good sleepers at all, and I really like my sleep, and so does Travis. And after having it for this many years and then going back to no sleep, I feel like that's going to be really hard, at least a struggle for a little bit. Porter, like, they were so close in age and we were still getting up with Grant some, that it was not a hard transition with him like losing sleep, because I was already used to it. I knew what to expect. I knew it wasn't going to last forever. But this time around, I don't know. That, and just I'm hoping that I'm not going to be super anxious after, like with postpartum and everything, because I've been so anxious during this pregnancy that I'm a little bit worried about that. Because again, I think I had a little bit of postpartum anxiety with Grant. I didn't know that's what it was at the time, but I'm about positive that's what it was. Porter, it was a breeze. The whole pregnancy felt easier, and then postpartum was so much easier with him. But this time around, just a new doctor, new hospital that we're going to be at, just all of the unknowns this time around and how I've been feeling during this pregnancy has me worried. What state do we live in? We live in Tennessee, East Tennessee, close to the mountains. And I've lived here pretty much my whole life, other than when we got married. We temporarily lived in North Carolina. Travis was a general manager at a Dairy Queen there, and we lived He lived in Mount Airy. The store was in Dobson though. And then so we moved there. I loved Mount Airy. I thought it was the cutest town to live in. We liked living there. I didn't like not having family around and just a new environment and everything. And we got the opportunity to move back. Travis has always lived in Tennessee too. So this is obviously home, and we took that opportunity with no hesitation to come back. How long have me and Travis been married? We got married we got married June 27th, 2014. So how many years is that? Horrible. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 7 years? Is that 7 years? Almost 8? Wow. Time's going fast. So the last question that I've got here are, what are some of your favorite YouTubers to watch? And I've got like two sides to that, I guess. I do watch some YouTube, a little less since I've been doing my own videos, because I try to, it's like a balance. I try to focus on doing my videos, but then I actually like watching YouTubers too. What got me started with YouTube though, like I watched family vloggers. Ellie and Jared and Colin and Katie. Those are the main ones that I watched, and I still do. I still love watching them. And then since starting my own YouTube channel and finding my niche a little bit, there's some that I watch pretty regularly. Like my favorite one right now is Tiffany from Our Small Town Life, and just their whole family seems so sweet, and I feel like we have a lot of similarities, and I relate to her a lot. Like how she's moving next to her mom and lives in Double Wide. That was like so close to what me and Travis did. We almost did a Double Wide instead of getting this house when we got this house a couple years ago, and we probably would have, but the person that worked there never like would email us back and get in communication with us, and then we found this house and it worked out, but it was fine. But our ultimate goal for years now has been to move next to my parents, find a place for both of us with a little bit of land and have a garden and all the things. So I relate to that a lot, and like I said, her family is so sweet and their little boy is adorable. Puts a smile on my face every day. And that's one that I watch like at the end of the night when I'm just chilling, and I almost always forget to comment because it's just like my chill time and I'm just doing it to watch, you know. And then I like Tamara, Southern Wife Everyday Life, and several others. I don't want to mention too many and leave anybody out. And I know that Caitlin from Caitlin's, she just changed her name recently, Caitlin's Kitchen. I do watch her a lot too, and we're like right at the same time of being pregnant, so I think that's kind of neat. And you know, other people that I relate to and that sort of thing. Let me know y'all's favorite YouTubers in the comments down below too. I'd like to hear that, and maybe I'll find some more too. But that is all of the questions. If I missed any, or if you have any that you're curious about that I haven't answered, then leave them in the comments down below and I'll just comment back to you and answer them that way. But thank you guys so much for being here and watching and learning a little bit more about me. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye y'all.